Go somewhere where I can thrive at and win a lot of championships. My expectations are always the national championship too at the end of the year, because that's what you want to do at the end of the day. And somewhere where coaching staff can develop me to become an NBA level player.
This is the Pitino Show, hosted by Richard Pitino and Paul Fritschner, presented by Deer Park Roofing.
Welcome into another episode of the Pitino Show, presented by Deer Park Roofing. I'm Paul Fritschner, alongside the head coach of the Xavier Musketeers, Richard Pitino, over to my left. Coach Pitino, it's great to see you here today. Great to have you on the show, and excited to get to talk to Tre Carroll as we get going with our Player Spotlight series over the next few weeks. An opportunity to showcase this new team. A lot of new faces on this Xavier roster. No returning scoring from last year's roster, so an opportunity for the fans and everybody watching and listening to get to know these guys and the players that they're going to watch over the next few months in a Xavier uniform. Coach, we'll start with you. Let's wrap it up this summer. How's everything going, and how was the summer? And just catch us up on how everything's been lately.
Yeah, I mean, the summer is good in a lot of ways, but in a little bit of a way, it's bad. And the only ways to say it's bad is because you're not fully going. And sometimes when you have a bunch of new guys only going 3 times a week, you don't want them to get too accustomed to that.
Yep.
Because that's not reality. You know, when we start in mid to late September, we're going 5-6 times a week. So it's almost like it's an appetizer. It's not the main course. What it is really good for is chemistry amongst each other, because you're introducing really 16 new faces. I guess Roddy, Luke, Henry, and Ian, those 4 were together last year, but the other 12, plus the coaching staff, all this stuff. So where it's good is them connecting with us, understanding the lay of the land and how we're trying to operate, understanding little terminology things, you know, what's this coverage on a ball screen? What are we calling this offensively? Like, all those things are good, but adversity will really hit late September, October, and then you'll really know about guys. But it's been good. I mean, they've been working really hard. You could see their bodies changing, which is really, really important, because they're really going overboard with the lifting right now. That's going to be scaled down as we start to practice. So, you know, you really got to kind of develop a base for what you're trying to do physically, and then it'll settle in as we really get going every day.
Yeah, I'm always interested talking to coaches and how you all approach the summer, because you can do it differently. You're allotted a certain amount of time over the summer, but each coach can decide however they want to do it with their program. So what have you decided to do here at Xavier, and how you handle the summer program?
Yeah, we had a little bit of a curveball late in the summer due to some injuries, to where it just wasn't smart to practice. So I try very hard to, when I give them a schedule, not deviate from it. As you do kind of feedback and exit meetings with players, early in my career, it was always like, we just want to know a schedule and we don't want changes. So I try really hard not to do that. But sometimes if guys are out and I can't go 5-on-5, I'd rather just do skill development stuff. So we did a lot more of that later in the summer. I would say a normal week was 2 practices and then 2 skill development sessions. It's also hard because you're going recruiting. You know, you're gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I wanted a blend. I have in mind that this is a marathon, and we want to get them better every time they step on the court. But we will start to kind of really ramp up and do full practices in the fall, less skill development. And then as the season starts, almost less practice, more skill development.
Last question before we get to Tre for you, Coach. You went to, I've seen pictures, you went to Topgolf as a team. You threw out the first pitches at the Reds game, pulled the sword at FC Cincinnati, been able to see the city, get around. What's been maybe your highlight of the summer so far being around here in Cincinnati?
I'm just worried about the next email I'm going to get. Like, do I have to be a ball boy at some tennis match or whatever? I mean, it's like, listen, if anybody who knows me, I'll say yes, but I'll complain about it until I have to do it. They were all great and totally different. I've done the first pitch before. I did one at the Twins game when I was at Minnesota. I've done some kind at the college level stuff. The first pitch thing is great, but it's also like the people ruin the experience because, don't bounce it, and they start to get you nervous. You're like, oh my God. It was cool to be able to throw that one out to my son.
Yeah.
The team was there, which was great. The FC Cincinnati one was really unique because I don't think I've ever been to a soccer game, an MLS game. I did one overseas on a team trip. Beautiful stadium, stunningly beautiful. I couldn't believe what I was seeing there. Messi being there was awesome. The environment, like people really care about it. So that was unique and cool. Both different, both great. This feels right for me. I mean, I know everybody thinks I'm this staunch New York Northeastern. I'm really not. Like I've lived in a million different places, and I've always, especially at this phase of my life, really identified with the Midwest way of life, and the summers are what make the Midwest so cool. So to be able to have Reds games, I was probably at 6 or 7 Reds games, going to the FC Cincinnati, going to the different restaurants, all that was amazing.
All right, well, Tre Carroll, let's get to know you a little bit. Welcome to Xavier, Tre. It's great to have you here. Transfer in from Florida Atlantic, where you spent your entire career leading up to this season, and you make the decision to come here to Xavier. So welcome to Cincinnati. Welcome to Xavier. And I'll ask you the same question that I just asked Coach. What's been your early impressions of Xavier and being around here in the city and just getting to immerse yourself in the city of Cincinnati?
Oh, I love it here. It's definitely like a 180 from Florida. You know what I mean? The roads are different. The weather can sometimes be different. The city is definitely different. You know, where I grew up at, there's no city. It's more like just like low character, low environment. Not many people know where it is. And then I go to Boca, where it's like kind of more of city-like a little bit, not overly huge, probably like a medium-sized city. And then I come here, it's a big city, a lot of people. But I honestly love it, and the environment's great. Practices have been great. I just love it here.
What, you talk about, the progression of your career. You were the co-most improved player in your conference at Florida Atlantic this past season. You look at your numbers stacking up year over year, and now you build yourself to the high major level here at Xavier, getting to play in the Big East. What was the most important thing for you to identify in a transfer portal and to be able to come here and make the decision to play for Coach Pitino?
Go somewhere where I can thrive at and win a lot of championships, because I want to win regular season, conference championship, and then go on to the big dance. And, my expectations are always the national championship, too, at the end of the year, because that's what you want to do at the end of the day. And somewhere where a coaching staff can develop me to become an NBA-level player. And I feel like Coach Pitino and his staff are able to get me there, and I've already lost like 8 pounds, getting in better shape, being able to run more, just be able to shoot when you're tired. And obviously just getting fit into the system, because it's a whole entirely different system, the one I just played at a year ago. But so far it's been positively great for me. And it's just about getting way more comfortable in the system, and that just takes time.
And Coach, tell us about Tre here and what your early impressions of him have been on the court now that you've gone through the summer.
Yeah, when it comes to transfers, you have a lot of film at your disposal. But what you don't know is everybody's kind of role within that locker room. I always call the other coaches. Now, some don't, some do. They all spoke very highly of Tre, his competitive nature, his just his spirit on a daily basis. And I think that's what is so beneficial, to just know people and understand that in this profession, because you got to ask questions. And everybody raved about his character. We always looked at him as a skilled forward. I've really been putting him at the 3 and the 4. That's a little bit challenging. The 4 and the 5 are very similar in my system. The 3 and the 4 are 2 different sets. Every 4 wants to be a 3. Every 5 wants to be a 4. Every 2 wants to be the 1. That's kind of the way it works. But throwing a lot at him, especially, and the reason why I'm doing this, he's very versatile, which is a great thing. Doesn't really have a weakness from a basketball standpoint. Can dribble, can shoot, can pass, has a very good feel. It's with him, body, conditioning, and not just him specifically, it's everyone on our team, is getting in the best shape of your life. Our style is different. We run a lot, and the guys that don't get tired are the ones that really elevate their game, because the game that we try to play is a game that's going to make everybody fatigued. And the ones that can really perform when their tank is on empty, those are the ones that are going to separate themselves. And the summer has been great. He's very reliable, consistent. I don't believe has missed a practice, had a little bit of a back thing, but nothing serious by any means. And that matters as well, too. So he's a veteran. He came from a winning program, tasted success. And that's important in the locker room when you're building a program.
Deer Park Roofing has been providing elite service for homes and businesses since 1996 and leads the industry in professionalism, quality, and responsiveness. So whether your needs are residential or commercial, Deer Park can handle any job and ensure it's done right. Deer Park's motto is, protect what's important. And what's important to you is important to Deer Park Roofing. Visit deerparkroofing.com today. deerparkroofing.com.
Tre, you're married. You're married,
Yep.
Which is crazy when you think about, Coach. I mean, you look at the college game now and how much it's changed, and we know about NIL and everything else. But the age of players and the maturity of players and the stage of their life, it's not that crazy to say, oh yeah, you have one or two players on your team that are married anymore.
No, it has changed. Like the whole sport has changed, and I think what we're trying to, as coaches, get is media, boosters, alumni, and fans to understand that we respect when you want to talk to us about the old days. Like I'm not crapping on history and tradition. This place has got a lot of it, but everybody needs to understand the job has completely shifted. And it's not abnormal to have a guy who's married anymore. It's not abnormal to have a guy who's 23, 24 years old. And, we met his lovely wife. She's great. It's funny. I think when I first started coaching, you never wanted a player to have a girlfriend. You got to be married to the game. I think it's the other way around. If he's got a wife, that means he's locked in on his wife and basketball. You got to make sure you have a good wife like he does, who's supportive of that. But honestly, she came on the visit. Mom came on the visit. They were all great. They have a lot on their plates, and it is important to get to know their inner circle because that can create more drama in their lives than need be. And he's got a really good core group of people around him.
Tell us about your family, Tre.
Yeah, so first we'll start with my wife. I've known her since kindergarten. We grew up together from the sandbox days, knew each other, went to the same school for elementary, middle, high school, and then the same college together, graduated together. She's the love of my life. We were best friends all the way until freshman year of high school. And then the third day of high school, we were like, you know me better than anyone and I know you better than anyone, so why not give it a shot? And she was like, okay, let's do it. And we've been together for, it'll be 8 years in August. But it's already passed by now, but been together 8 years, been married for a couple months now. And she's everything to me. She's probably the main reason why I didn't quit basketball my freshman year of college, because I partially tore a ligament and tendon in my ankle, and that caused me to sit out for 3 months. And then I got severely overweight. I gained 25 pounds of just fat because I just kept eating, but I wasn't working it off because I was, I couldn't work out. And then I had the red shirt, and I wasn't a big fan of that because, the coaches said they need this from me, but ended up redshirting because, I wasn't in shape. So I was just depending on whether I should keep going or not. And she said, trust in God, keep going. You ain't worked this hard to just quit now. And I was able to move her out here all the way to Cincinnati, play for Coach Pitino and play at a, Power 5, Power 4 school. And the way my career is now, a big reason for that is because of her. And I think my breakout year last year was a main reason because of her too. Because I told her, I was like, I'm going to have to sacrifice a lot of my time with you because I got to work harder than I ever have last year. And I have to do it again this year. And she's always 100% supportive of me. She's like, okay, I'll be waiting for you at home whenever you get back. And then that's just her. And that just says who she is as a person. And then you got my mom. You know, my mom's been my right hand ever since I was born. I couldn't tell you the last time she's missed a game. And like, she never missed a game growing up. Like my AAU games, high school games, you know, rec games, she never missed it. College is different because she can't travel out of state all the time. But every home game she was at, she drove 2.5 hours every time there was a home game. Same thing with my grandparents, because me and my mom lived with them my whole life. But anything I ever needed, like basketball shoes, a car ride, you know, food on the table, you know, she was always there for me because, you know, she was a single mom raising me. And, you know, you need a village for that. And that's where my grandparents came in. I call my grandma my second mom because she was like my emotional support growing up. Because, you know, my mom had to be the mom, the dad. She had to be the one to, like, you know, discipline me. My grandma was always the emotional support who I could go to talk to about something hard times. Like if I went on, like if I had a bad grade, I could go and talk to her, like why I got it or like how it happened. My grandpa, you know, head of the household, you know, always works. He gets up at 3 a.m, still to this day, to go to work from like 5 a.m. in the morning till like 6 p.m. at night. He's gone for that long, just try to provide a life for his, you know, for his family, because he feels like as a father he still has to work even though he doesn't. And that's just him, and that's like basically my family.
Well, you want to talk about a good foundation. I mean, that is certainly a way to build character and a foundation.
Yeah, and that's the value of the visit. You know, visits are not quite as important as they once were, especially transfers. You know, it used to be 4 to 8 hours. You know, you're a million meals. You're showing them all these things, and you know, for a guy who's got 1 year or 2 years, like, you know, it's about meeting the people around him, meeting the student athlete. And, you know, when you're able to, where do we go, Maggiano's or whatever, and sit down together at a meal. And I really try hard when we have visits to keep the meals small and intimate. You know, we have a big staff of people. I'll constantly be telling them, like, you're not going, because I want to get to know these guys, you know, because it's hard when you're on tours and you meet with academics and all these things, strength coach. And that's where you really find out, because you let them talk. You know, you let the mom talk, you let the grandparents talk, and you start to hear what they're about. They tell on themselves. And it was very positive with Tre's family. And we've had visits where we meet as a staff and we're like, this guy's not the right fit, or we don't like what the people around him are saying. It's just not going to work. And with his family, it was so supportive and positive. And you got to be on the same page. You know, sometimes people forget that. And we all want the same thing. Tre wants to win. Tre wants to play at the next level. Like, we all benefit from that. And, you know, there's got to be a trust between everybody, and we have that.
Deer Park Roofing has been providing elite service for homes and businesses since 1996 and leads the industry in professionalism, quality, and responsiveness. So whether your needs are residential or commercial, Deer Park can handle any job and ensure it's done right. Deer Park's motto is, protect what's important. And what's important to you is important to Deer Park Roofing. Visit deerparkroofing.com today. deerparkroofing.com.
Tre, you're pretty active on social media, and I would say, in the little bit that I've been able to get to know you here over the last couple of months, I would say you're one of the more outgoing guys on this team. You have a great personality, and one of the things that I think you've kind of endeared yourself to with the Xavier fan base online has been this kind of Aquaman persona. Is that something you lean into, or that you do because you look like him and you feel like you have to?
I'll start off with when this started. So this started when I started so the last year, the Dusty May era, before he left for Michigan, I was growing my hair out. You know, I had a really bad haircut because I asked for a trim. I was already growing out. I asked for a trim, and he like chopped it basically all off, like all the work. And I was like, okay, I'm not to restart. So it's probably like kind of the end of the year when my hair is starting to get back to, a good length, but I had to sit out. But they started calling me Aquaman because one of the backup bigs got hurt and had to, sit out for like 3 weeks. And my name started to get called more and more and more. And they're like, dude, who is this guy with the luscious hair? Like, he looks like Aquaman out there. And it started like at an Illinois game. I remember it was some two guys on YouTube. My dad sent me the clip. He was like, this Jason Momoa wannabe is killing us right now, and he was not on the scouting report. It was the craziest thing. It was the funniest thing. And then that's when it started. And then the fans at FAU started to like get a hold of it because they heard I was staying after everybody else who played left. Yeah. They're like, oh my gosh, Aquaman's staying. And then I was like, all right, let's just see where this goes. Because my name used to be like Trey Savage or something back in high school. It was never like a big thing. And then this Aquaman thing really kicked off this past year where I started playing more. The fans knew who I was. They had like some Aquaman signs. My wife one time said, like, I had a sign where it said, I love Aquaman, number 12. And I was like, geez. And then the announcers started calling me it. And then I had a person on Drake when we played him at the Charleston Classic this past year. He's like, dude, do you really go by Aquaman? I was like, how do you know this? Like, it's gotten nationwide to a point you know it now. And so when I entered the portal and then everybody heard Xavier was like on the top of my list, you should have seen my Twitter feed. Like, Aquaman's coming to visit. Aquaman, come golfing with us. Aquaman, go to Skyline Chili. I'm like, all right, let's go with it. And then I committed to Xavier, and then it's just my face pixelated on like a bunch of Aquaman stuff. Oh yeah,
you were all over. And
then I just posted like one of the things that were posted on Twitter when I committed. It was Aquaman dribbling a basketball with the blue blob. And it's funny. So yeah, I guess it's a persona of mine. I love it. I'm not hating it, and I'll keep the long hair as long as I can. So,
Coach, you ever seen the movie? You ever seen Aquaman?
I saw. There's a couple of them, but I definitely saw the one. I'm a big movie guy.
Okay.
So I see most of them, but yes, I saw the first one for sure. It was good.
I love that.
You gotta get the tattoo.
Yeah, true. yeah, true. Trey, when you come here to Xavier, you come to establish yourself with a new team. When you've been with FAU for so long, right now you're in a whole new environment, new guys, new coach, new staff, all of that. What do you think is the most important thing for you that you learned in your basketball career that you wanted to set a precedent for yourself early? We were talking before you even sat down here about, wanting to get in the gym early, wanting to get shots up, all of those things that what you feel like are maybe some of the most important characteristics of your game or qualities of who you are that you can bring here to the court.
Yeah. So you got to be the hardest person in the gym, hardest working one, whether that be in practice or you coming in for extra, you always have to get extra because practice is never enough. That you got to come in at least once by yourself, if not twice, and that's like an everyday thing. I only take one day off, and that's Sunday because that's the rest day, Sabbath day, because I'm a Christian and Jesus, God said take one rest day. So I'm like, all right, Sunday's my rest day, but you got to be the hardest working one in the gym, and it's summer, so like everybody's like trying to figure out their role and stuff. Everybody's like taking shots or like taking bad shots, whatever. Like we're trying to get a feel for each other. So it's like the summer's, like Coach Pitino said, it's summer, like not a big deal. You don't want to do like too much, but in the preseason, that's when like I think the team will start to see like who I am like as a person on the court and like what I'm about, because that's when it just means so much more. Because now we have this routine, like we're practicing all the time. Like this ain't a game no more, and it's my last year, so it's like, we're in and out, and now we all got to lock in, like really build the team chemistry now, because this is when it matters. We're only like a couple months away from season. Like there's no more like, hey, you can't do this, we just got to go. Like, so I think in the preseason they'll start to see like like my personality on the court, because now summer you're still like I said, you're still trying to get a feel for it. You don't want to like feel like you're doing too much, doing too little. Like you kind of just want to be like, okay, like where am I supposed to go here? So you're kind of like, I'm still kind of like thinking about it a little bit, like where I'm supposed to be in the offense, because behind the 3 and the 4, it's different positions, so I have to learn like different things every day. Like it's never just like, oh, you're doing the same thing. It's different things every day, so you just got to keep learning and growing. But once we hit that preseason and like we really set that foundation, that's what the team will like I feel like will really start to feel like who I am as like a person on the court. Like, hey, this guy wants to win. Like, no matter what, he'll do whatever it takes to win.
Coach, with the way you put this team together, it was pretty clear you're pairing experience with some youth that you want to build for the future. And Tre, so much experience over his career, NCAA tournament. I'm pretty sure, I don't have this for us stone cold facts, so people watching and listening maybe don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure this is true. You didn't play, and we've talked about already, the injuries and some of the things that you went through your first year, but I'm pretty sure you're the first player to play at Xavier that was on a Final Four roster. And to transfer in here and to be part of that and to pair some of that experience with now some of the youth that you're trying to build for the future. How important was it for you, Coach, to find players that you felt like had been around the block, character, leadership, all of that Tre brings to this team? Yeah,
I mean, putting together a team now substantially different than when we first started in this profession. So I think the first thing that fans need to understand is you basically have a salary cap. Right, you have a number of what you can put a group together with. So that's the first thing is you got to spend your money wisely. And we felt like with a guy like Tre, the experience that he had, if you can come from and you're not always going to control player coming from a certain program and all those things, but he came from a winning program. He's had great experiences in the NCAA tournament. Played for a coach and a coaching staff that we really respect. That helps. That really helps. So I just thought when I watched Tre play, he impacted winning, and you could tell when you watched him that he cared about winning. You get this opportunity when you recruit transfers to pull up your synergy, which is where you find all the plays. And I could go and watch every play he's played in college basketball. And he's a winner, whether it's getting a loose ball, getting an offensive rebound, driving it to the basket, making a three, all those little things. And so, we just identified with it. So, I mean, it's if you can get a guy from a winning program, it's always great. You don't always dictate that, but if you get that, that's certainly a cherry on top.
Before we wrap up here, Coach, any questions for Tre?
No, I mean, I think I've worked at Florida, assistant coach at University of Florida for 2 years. I was the head coach of FIU for 1 year. And I ask him this all the time, and I still don't know the answer. Where the hell is Port Charlotte, where he's from? And I got to figure that out. I've never heard of that place. But no, I met somebody who used to do some of his games. I was on the road recruiting, and it's cool the beauty of basketball is to get a guy who's from Port Charlotte, Florida, stayed kind of in his little bubble in Florida, now to pull him out of that and drop him into Cincinnati. That's the beauty of sports. My last couple of jobs have been Miami, Minnesota, Albuquerque, Ohio, and it's cool to see he's enjoying it. And him and his wife are loving the experience, and that's very, very important.
Tre, anything that you want Xavier fans to know before we sign off here? Anything I haven't asked you? Anything that comes to the top of mind?
Xavier, you'll be getting a dog out of me. I promise you that.
It's a great way to wrap it up. Tre Carroll, I appreciate you taking some time this morning to sit down and talk. We appreciate it, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Best of luck this season, absolutely. For Coach Pitino, for Tre Carroll, I'm Paul Fritschner signing off. We'll talk to you next time on the Richard Pitino Show, presented by Deer Park Roofing.